But do you know of, I mean, again, this could be a hard, but on a whole, like, are there companies that do you sense, Luke, that like, I don't know. I mean, you can pick, I don't want to say top two, but maybe just some company names which everybody feels like, you know what, like, that's the dream company, or I
Mm,
to go there. Generally, you think of some tech companies or maybe some startup companies, but as you say, like sometimes in a large organization, my experience has been then like you could see a big brand from the outside, but the moment you enter in, you're just a small dot in
yeah.
a corner somewhere, and like just doing your stuff. Like nobody knows how it adds to the big picture, right? So I don't know. I'm curious to know, like, are you seeing that like they're perhaps preferring to maybe an organization which is maybe a smaller mid-sized company but really brings in a good culture, or are they just like there's always that dream list like that, all of us have
Yeah.
no out of college?
It's a great question, and I firmly agree with you where it's difficult to just come out with someone because
Yeah.
so much of this happens on a department level, right?
Yeah.
Or like even a specific management, one manager
Got
is
it.
leading a team. Like, so a lot of times I try to focus on the key principles because it is so difficult to know if that's actually happening organization wide, or are these just, and as you know too, a lot of this is press releases who like this is purely a marketing and recruiting strategy. So are you seeing the full picture? Yes or no? But a few companies to me that excite me for two reasons. One, they are doing some really interesting, innovative things. But two, they're actually kind of espousing in the space of employee engagement and person engagement as well.
Yeah.
So the first one is called Slido. Have you used it? Like, it's an
Yeah,
audience
Slido.com,
participation
is that the
tool.
company, right, where
What's that?
yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were recently acquired by Cisco in the last year or two.
Uh-huh.
Um, the content that they put out, so a big shout out to their blog and their marketing pieces. So they're an audience participation tool. And so right away, they espouse these values of two-way, of participation, of really powerful metrics around how did this meeting go? How did this presentation go? People can ask questions. You can upvote when people ask questions. So this platform and the surrounding strategy around it, really, really cool. I'm such a huge fan. So I actually use
So do
Slido.
they actually, sorry, I was just sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
do they use that? I mean, I just a silly question, but do they use it at the most micro level, like in each meeting,
Yes.
or that's, oh, really? Okay. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
almost like if we're done with one meeting, they would quickly get a quick survey of how that went. But I don't have
Exactly.
fatigue of
So
that. I mean, just
front end, they have unlimited ideas for, like, especially if you've got remote teams,
uh,
they have unlimited ideas for like icebreakers and fun activities you can do. One example is like everyone can share a picture that they took like from the last month, like, well, one cool image. I thought that was a really cool icebreaker idea. Or sometimes they do a show and tell, like if you are a remote worker, what's something like you want to grab some stuffed animal maybe you had your
oh,
whole life, like really fun ideas. So check out their blog. They've got incredible content and ideas to really drive connections. And again, these are just simple things. Maybe it's 5 minutes at the start of a meeting. It helps people get appreciation for the person, not just the function that someone's trying to
yeah.
achieve. But I also, and you just mentioned it, like I would really, really stress the importance of those metrics around meetings. So I use Slido for, I give talks on Gen Z, how managers and leaders can better engage with Gen Z in the workforce. That's how we connected, of course.
Yeah.
And I use Slido throughout. So people are actually using polls. They actually, I have my presentation set up so they can drive the answers to the polls drives what content I share with them. Like it's that audience driven.
Yeah.
But the important thing is at the end of the meeting, I will actually put up a poll and say, okay, what do you think of this presentation? Like, what was your rating for it? How much value did it bring to your career? And how engaged did you feel throughout? And did you have any other questions or comments? It's really easy. It's just like, it's just they do it on their phone. It's 5 stars. They can click up to 5 or 2, 3, whatever they decide.
Yeah.
And so literally by the time, assuming I drove to this meeting, by the time I walk out of that place and get to my car, I can look up on my phone on my admin view and see what my talk scored. And so I'm proud to say I've actually scored on average about a 4.7 out of 5. But that has come through refining. I started off a little lower in the lower 4s, and I tweaked my content, tweaked my strategy, I tweaked the way I ran those meetings, and I could see that maybe went up 0.2%. Like I could see a tangible tactical difference in the scores I was receiving. And again, so many times, especially leaders, I feel like I'm doing this now, just kind of talking and talking.
So, but yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so many times leaders just they get this meeting together of 5, 6, 7 employees, their direct reports, and they talk 75% of the meeting. People may weigh in a little bit, and then they're like, "Oh, that was a good meeting," because they've talked the whole time. Like they like hearing themselves talk. They have no idea. They have no metrics to actually back that up. And so, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Slido for the content they create, the strat, because it's not enough. Last point I'll make is just like it's not enough to just have a tool, right? We've all seen these kind of cutesy tools. A lot of event apps have all kinds of neat things, but a lot of times no one uses them, or if they use them in a really gimmicky way, like, hey, where's everyone from? Cool, there's like a word cloud coming up on screen. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but then that they shut that down and they just give a one-way talk for the next 58 minutes. Like that didn't really change the dynamic. So it really is not just about the tools, it's about the strategy behind them.